Hi, my name's Jerry Flores, and I'm in Bonnie's 1302, and I'm here to talk about learning with peers. Anyways, um, previously, before I'm so used to like going into a classroom and then writing down an essay or actually having to having to ask someone for help. And this year was different. It was like, hey, like instead of just giving someone your paper, like, to anybody and just saying here, correct it, right? You actually get to. I mean, Bonnie showed us like an opportunity to say here. You know what you all could do is highlight where you think your weakness is at, and just ask them for help where you need it, and that way you'll know you'll know more or less where you stand and where they, their critique about what you think you did wrong or what you think is bad, what you think is bad from your essay, they'll end up helping you and giving you the feedback that you want, not what they just think, but it's what you want. So it gives us more control for what we we really need help in instead of just you know giving our essay to someone and just be like, here, look, make corrections type of thing. So it kind of gives us a more freedom. it gives us more it gives us more opportunity to actually help ourselves because we know where we are weak, and now we're just asking someone, hey, help me. I feel weak in my second paragraph on my thesis statement, and then you get the feedback, and like the other person, like, here, I think you should do this, this, and this, and if this doesn't help, you should do this, this, and this. Then, like, for us as the one who wrote it, it's like a really major help for us, and to have the opportunity for someone to actually go to your work and just go to the specific spot where you need the help is very, very helpful, especially with like long essays. Like, I'm pretty sure in our, like last semester, I do remember it was like 20 plus pages, and I got the opportunity to be like, I need help here, need help here, need help here, and it just comes through, and it helps the reader, or well, it helps the reader a lot. Well, the one who wrote it, the author, a lot, and that really plays a big part in our grade because the better, the more specific we are with our ideas, and the better and the more likely we'll have a chance of actually succeeding with our essay. Now I'll talk about writing with a purpose, and right here on the screen I'm showing the things that I was interested at first, taking the class, and like you can see music, new language, learn to drive, money, people, trending, and at first I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew, like, once I found an idea, which was why is jail, being in jail and incarcerated. So my question was, how does being in jail affect people in prison? But it wasn't so easy at first. At first I was just getting like, oh, jail, 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 and what to do with it. And I wanted to focus on people who were in jail, which were like, I just thought about a situation where people are in jail and like they don't have as much freedom as we do. So it's kind of hard for us to really understand what's happening in there. So I wanted to dig further. So at first my audience was people who knew like a relative that was in jail, and like you knew them, and at first that's what I thought. But as I looked at my crap sheets again, and I slowly realized, holy, like, this is not for them. Is it really for them? Is it? is it really for people who know someone that are in jail? Like, how will it really affect them? And I started pointing elsewhere, so my direction went from someone who was in jail to lawmakers, because people who are in jail don't necessarily have the tools to write in jail and like express themselves, because like having a pencil or a pen in jail is actually considered like a crime. It's like illegal to have a pen. So once once I started to look at my secondary sources and what they were telling me, I realized, man, I think my essay, my audience should be lawmakers, because lawmakers are the ones that set the rules up for us, the way we live in, etc., etc. But once I realized that that wasn't it, I still wasn't like it wasn't good enough for me. So my partner, actually, one of my group members, her name's Maya. She kind of like, well, who are the people who run the prisons? I was like, thank you. I was like, thank you. That's what I needed. And so, I went from students to lawmakers to now warden. A warden is, the man who runs the jail system. And yeah, like I realized my my what my research paper should direct, or who it should be about, should be um should be to a warden, someone who doesn't know that, someone who actually is in the premises in the jail, and yet is blinded by the violence, and what like what keeps people from actually having the freedom to write. So like this research paper that I did should be perfect for the warden, so he could be like, hey, like, we should give more freedom to those who who want to write and are in prison, because we are excluding them from writing, expressing their thoughts and feelings, emotions onto a paper for the loved ones, for any, to whoever they're writing to, and etc., etc. Um, it's not so much that people 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 have to accept that this research paper is to the warden, but at least in my opinion, should be. And I know it should be. And through my primary research, I had to look at those who were in prison and were incarcerated, while one of my main, I used my research tool was data analysis. And I used this guy who wrote poetry in there, because it was the best thing that could actually happen to me, because even though the data was kind of outdated, because it was very, very long ago, but to this day we can look at it and like actually have things with us so that we could actually compare and contrast. So now I'll be talking about the research process. And in the research process, it took it at last semester I did about gaming. It was like how does the gaming community affect with communication skills, something like that. And it was a real like heavy hit. I tackled it. I did good. At least I think I did good. But this semester was like a little different. I couldn't really pick communications. I had to do something different. And I guess I wanted to write about people who are incarcerated. It's just funny to me because a lot of people oversee it, and it's really bad, I guess. For me, it's really like bad. Um, my what I was getting from my secondary sources was like, oh my god, like it was a pain in the butt just seeing what they were writing, because a lot of it was like, a lot of what I found is because I find it hard, or at least people find it hard to talk about what really happens in jail and what doesn't happen. It's like almost like they're protecting us from actually seeing what happens in jail. So like what my secondary sources pulled up was very what I put up from my secondary sources was very vague, and some of it was outdated, but through to 1302, I kind of learned the difference between actual good journal writing, like a credible one that I could actually take and analyze and like facts versus someone just giving an opinion. Someone with a PhD writing a book versus me who doesn't really have nothing, other than a high school diploma. Who would you take? Whose essay would you take? Well, obviously you would take the one with the PhD. And getting the secondary sources, it was just a lot, a lot of like people who were writing that weren't credible to write. Just journals that were just BS. Like, I'm sorry, but it was just BS, like a lot of it. And I found slowly through searching through the internet, the browser. I prefer Bing, by the way. Anyways, searching, I came up across four four secondary sources that actually could help me and guide me. And here it's the trauma of incarceration, and Malaki Ill, I guess that's how you pronounce it. He writes about the experience he goes through, and how people who actually have some kind of education, what they go through, and I gotta analyze that, and I took someone credible because you need credible sources, credible secondary sources, because if not, I'm sorry, your essay is just gonna be trash. Your essay is just gonna be trash if you don't get something that's credible. And my primary research was the same thing. I was searching and searching. I actually asked a friend of mine to lend me his father's his father's writings while he was in jail, because he would write to him. His father's actually still in jail, and I would ask him, hey, like, can you lend me him? And there was just a bunch of personal things on there that he's like, dude, I can't. But being that his father, my dad's friend was in college, and he actually has a bachelor's, if I'm not mistaken. So his work would have actually been incredible. Like, his primary research would have been even better, because I would have had a hands-on, like, oh my god, like, I'm actually reading something that was not published, but like something that was written in jail and it's in my hands. I could analyze it further versus going on the internet and like getting what I got. So it really, like, getting good primary sources and getting good secondary sources is a very, very, very big help in your research paper.